Broadcasting live from the luxury suite on the plain of Faerun, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron and Nelson.
Also here.
And today we're going to be talking about many things, such as last week's, at time of recording, Arena economy stream, yesterday's, at time of recording, previews of Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, and maybe anything else that strikes our fancy while we take random diatribes on our way to do those things. I think that probably covers the breadth of what you're about to hear. As always, this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. You're going to want to get your pre-orders in for Commander Legends whenever they do those. I'm sure that they're getting pretty close to getting Streets of New Capenna stuff up there as well. So definitely do that, putting the LRR on there. Let us know that we sent you. And we do that because we like continuing to work with them. And they're great folks with excellent customer service and impossibly fast shipping. I've heard tell that someone's order arrived before they'd even placed it. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe.
As it turns out, it was just time walk.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
They
that
didn't
tracks.
realize they'd been in a loop for a few weeks at that point.
Yeah, that'll happen. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. I don't know if you can hear, but the value police are coming for us.
I'm not going back to prison.
Some sirens just drove by. So
You're not allowed to make that order and ask for a 1-inch button.
yeah. So last episode, we very awkwardly recorded immediately before Wizards was going to be doing this Arena economy stream and Q&A to discuss the Arena economy. And so we couldn't do that last week, but now we're going to talk about it. Just to sort of lay the groundwork, I watched the presentation and about half the Q&A. I was exhausted for other reasons and had to go to bed. But so I watched the actual presentation with Blake Rasmussen and Chris Kuritz, both of whom I know personally and are nice guys, and I'm so sorry, dudes, could not have looked less excited to be there. And I understand why, but woof. Now, have either of you actually watched the stream or just sort of absorbed the fallout?
Absorb the fallout.
Yeah.
I read my Twitter timeline, and then I pieced through the article on MTG Goldfish that James shared earlier.
Yeah.
So there was like a recap. And just we've also gotten in some chats with it about it. Yeah.
It's interesting because I hadn't read the Goldfish article. I did sort of just get whatever was coming in on the timeline, and I was expecting something worse. Like there was a lot of stuff that they said that I thought was good, that I thought was really interesting, and a couple things that we'll get to. I didn't, but we'll talk about all of it. I think one of the most important things was that Chris said that it's like this is not the conversation, right? This is the start of the conversation, right? It's not like they did not intend for that stream to be like, here's all the answers, and then just tuxedo mask out of the situation, right? So this is not going to be the last that they talk about it, which is good because we have some follow-up questions. I say we, like people in general, but also us. A couple things that I thought were good and interesting. They talked about how they know that Arena as it exists currently, the way that the collections and stuff and rewards and things are designed does not benefit completion of a collection, of set collection. That's not the intent. And I don't know if maybe that's been misinterpreted by anyone, but Chris Kuritz, who's the executive producer, or one of the executive producers for Arena, was like, we know that the current system has issues if your goal is to collect one of every card. That's not something that they've done intentionally. Their goal is not to make it hard for people to not collect one of every card, but they've said that they know that is a problem. So good that they've sort of that they realize that. They talked about how the loop, the sort of the gameplay loop for limited players like myself is kind of solved, and I would agree with that, because what he described is exactly what I described, which is you go on, you pay to get into a draft or a sealed, you do your event, you get some packs and some gems or some gold or whatever out of that, and you can use those and open those packs, and you get more stuff for your collection, and eventually you build out the set, and then when next time you do a draft, when further down the line when you do more drafts, you open rares that you have more than 4 of, and so you get more gems that let you buy into more things, and that's sort of solved. The problem is primarily for constructed players. Who don't have that. And so a change that they talked about they're going to make is that constructed events are actually going to start, that they're changing them to pay out in packs and gems as well. They didn't specify exactly which constructed events or how much or whatever, but me, a limited fool, didn't know that wasn't the case, and I can see why that would be a problem.
It's weird. Yeah, on Arena, you can play draft for gems or sealed for gems, but you can't usually play constructed for gems unless it's like a special weekend or something. I think almost always it's coins in, coins out with like in-game card rewards.
Yeah.
Or sometimes packs.
What they call the ICRs, or the something card rewards. What's the I stand for? I can't remember.
Is it in-game? No, that wouldn't make sense.
I always forget this. Hang on. I think I have it in this article here.
Is the I another word for random?
Individual.
Individual card rewards.
When you get a card.
Right.
Yeah.
Individual. So yeah, they just give you a card. And the weird thing about those is, like, I played the new Alchemy event recently, and it was typical. It was like free to play, and you can play like any card in Alchemy, I think. Or no, you had to bring a deck maybe. But it was going to give you some of the new Kamigawa Alchemy cards. Or sorry, it was like with the release of the new Kamigawa Alchemy. Instead of giving you 3 packs, they're like, jump in this event, play some Alchemy. Each win you get up to 3 will give you an individual card reward. And they were Alchemy cards, but they weren't all the new Kamigawa Alchemy cards. I got one of those, and then I got another like Crimson Vow Alchemy card that I didn't have, but then I also just was given my 5th Ominous Traveler and didn't get gems instead, because those, I don't think those individual card rewards ever like turn into gems or vault reward or anything. It's just like, this is your card, and if you already have 4 of it, too bad.
Yeah.
So
that sucks.
Yeah, it felt kind of bad. I wasn't going to jump in that event except for the prizes, but sort of felt like, you're min-maxing Arena. You got to play the free events sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's, I haven't heard much about that. I have to assume, because I don't know, I have to assume for constructed folks that that's a positive change, that there will be constructed events that you can buy in with gold and pay out with gems and boosters. That's got to help. So that's nice. I hope they're generous with them, but I mean, we'll see. Another thing they talked about is the funnel sort of, or the bottleneck of mythics, because the way that the duplicate protection works is as you get more and more of the cards in a set, as you get the rares and you open the rare in a prize booster, you will get a rare you have not gotten if you're not getting a wild card. And so the problem is when someone's got, like when they're going for the rares, when they're going for the mythics and they get a rare or a wild card or something, it's more challenging and takes more boosters to get that. And so they're introducing a mythic guaranteed booster. So a booster currently, if it's not on sale for a daily deal, is 1,000 gold. And so this would be 1,300 gold, so 300 gold more, but your rare is guaranteed to be a mythic asterisk or rare or mythic wildcard, he said. And I mean, I would be super upset if I paid the 1,300 for a mythic guaranteed thing and got a rare wildcard. But accepting that seems also fine. I don't know. That seems fine. Again, this is not a problem I have personally, so I'm curious if you have any perspective on it.
Disclosure, I play Limited on Arena, and I play Gladiator. And the beauty of Gladiator is that I don't actually need that many wild cards, because the mode I play it in is I have a pet deck that I add a couple of cards to when a set comes out.
And it's a singleton format.
Yeah. So, like, this is a casual discussion of casual magic, and here I am, a casual, who kind of like, I don't know. I buy $20 worth of gems every couple of months and then draft until that goes away because I'm not at the skill level that allows me to go infinite.
Same.
And my gems experience attrition as I draft poorly.
If you're curious,
same.
Yeah, I buy the $100 bundle once every like. I'm just trying to think of when I last did it. Like once every 3/4 of a year, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's a better value per gem.
Yeah, like basically my operating in that mode, my thing is like, why do you get better value if you spend more money? And I know why. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
I think that sucks.
Yeah, it's the worst. I really wish
Yeah.
that they didn't make us pay $100 to get the closest to fair or whatever, or the best value on gems. But like Graham, I also, if I'm getting my wallet out, always give them $100 so that I get like more for my money. But yeah, it is annoying that like our in-game made-up currency, I think we've said this on the podcast before, includes a poverty tax.
Yes.
Like, we're trying to live in a fantasy world here and summon dragons. Do we have to make people feel bad for like not having a spare $100?
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, I think that's a
sorry,
good
but yeah, you were
observation.
talking
Yeah,
about
like,
Gladiator and your collection. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't need 16 mythics to play standard every 3 months. I mean, my opinion is probably less valuable on this because I just don't invest that into Arena. So I kind of defer to the opinion of the people who are heavily invested in it, and they seem unimpressed.
So I guess I'm the closest we've got to a constructed player. I also primarily play limited, and I'll play constructed either some seasons, like I played a bunch of constructed after Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow. Crimson Vow didn't pull me in, so I was playing more constructed. But right now I'm playing both, and that's pretty rare, but I still just play mostly limited and then we'll dabble in constructed. So if that's your situation, just like Cameron and probably Graham, if you wanted to, I bet you have the wild cards to build a deck. It's like if you want to play one standard or historic deck or whatever per season, you probably just have the wild cards to do it if you're a regular limited player and you buy back in for $100 a year or $100 every 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, the few times that I've played Gladiator on Friday Night Paper Fight streams, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll put a deck together, just sort of throw a bunch of stuff in, and then it's like, oh, you're going to need like 4 mythic and 12 rare wild cards to finish this deck. And I'm like, all right, I'm not using them for anything else, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not they're taking up space. What I use them for actually, the wild cards, certainly the commons and uncommons, is if I've built up enough, when the set comes out, there's someone who has made deck lists that you can find on GitHub. So you can import a deck list that's just 4 of all the uncommons. They're spread across a couple deck lists because you can only have 250 cards per deck. So you import a deck list that's just 4 of all the uncommons, and then go craft all. And it's like, this is going to take like, X 100 uncommon wild cards. And I go, yep. And then it goes, okay. And it just crafts them all at once, saves on clicks. And then uncommons of those that I open while playing limited advance the vault to then get more wild cards.
They turn into
that again.
1.1 wild cards or something, right? I was reading this article and also didn't understand it, but like apparently if you're going to draft like every day, right? Like say you are a drafter who can afford to, or you win a lot enough that you're drafting like at least 5 times a week or something.
Yeah.
It's actually better for you, or it was, or it might still be, to just craft the whole set, and then as you're drafting, you get your wild cards back and some gems and some more wild cards.
Yeah, if you have
right?
enough rare wild cards, which is a lot, but if you have enough rare wild cards to craft a whole set's worth of rares when a new set comes out, before you start doing sealeds and drafts and stuff, then you just turn all those, every rare that you draft or open in a sealed, into 20 or 40 gems, depending on if it's a rare or mythic. This is advice for a small subset of people who only play limited and have
it's okay.
an absolute embarrassment of wild cards. But
I feel that this solution is like not optimal.
No, we're doing it. We're coming back to the article.
Yeah.
What we're doing right now is we're springboarding. We're like on a trampoline, and we're all the way as far away from the point of this last Arena Economy stream as we could be in the fully, totally limited zone.
Yeah.
And it's important to notice that there's these hacks, right, that
Yeah.
take a minute or whatever, and they take some math figuring out whether it's worth it for you or not. But tying this all together is the first thing you said. Like, Arena serves the limited community pretty well.
Yeah.
And that was part of the point. Like, that's part of what the developers wanted, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the bot drafting or the like asynchronous drafting or whatever. Like, when they started out, it was like to various methods to be like, let's make draft cost $5 and be fun, and like it's going to be pretty enough that people want to do it. So yeah, it's worth noting to the Arena team, like, good job. We're happy with Arena Limited.
Yeah.
On the other side of the spectrum, though, it's like the people who don't want to play Limited at all. The Arena, like, yeah, like, economy can really hurt, because if you're not interested in playing draft, you don't get any fun out of it. Sure, maybe you have like some tokens, or like there's a discount on them or something, and you jump into drafts and then resign, or you play 1 or 2 games and resign, and it's like not that much worse than opening packs, but you need to get your cards somehow. So buying boxes of cards on Arena, opening packs on Arena, it's pretty lame, right? Like the value you get back for your dollar is comparable. Like, there's been some good tweets I've noticed this week about like crunching the numbers on how much it costs to buy packs to get the wild cards to build decks starting from nothing, paper versus Arena. And like, there's some decks that are more expensive noticeably on paper, where they play like a bunch of rares and mythics that people for Pioneer, EDH, Modern want that are in Standard, but most of them are like a little more expensive on Arena. And yeah, it also just like, it doesn't include the same enjoyment of the process that Limited inherently does, right? Where you're like, you know, you buy in and you're playing a tournament and you're grabbing cards, but they're like, it's all part of your journey. Building a deck from scratch, like, you know, opening 400 packs so that you get enough wild cards to build your constructed deck from nothing else is like, yeah, it's like a harsh grind. And
Yeah.
I don't know, at no part of it, no point do you feel like this is great value for me, right? You just have to like get into the games before you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're trying to address this with the further things that we're going to talk about. But yeah, the Mythic pack, the first one we're on, right? 1,300 gold. Yeah, it helps some people who are like big time investing to build decks once they've gotten through all their rares, and they're only looking for mythics. Like, if you're specifically trying to build black-white control and you have everything except the Wanderer, it's gonna slightly be better for you probably to buy like 10 mythic packs to try to get 4 Wanderers or wild cards.
Yeah, and I don't know how much the 300 extra gold is necessarily in terms of a value proposition, but this pack existing as an option seems like a fine thing.
Yeah, if they're not taking anything away and they're adding something, all they can do is net zero, right? They can only be improving life for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. Mythic pack, small win.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Might not affect you.
They talked about dusting. The term dusting. I think does it come from Hearthstone?
Well, I think originally it comes from World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh,
where
okay.
you would but yes, in a roundabout way, yes, from Hearthstone.
Right, okay. And that's the process by which you take cards and you shred them. You turn them to dust. You remove them from your collection in exchange for some amount of dust, this currency, whatever it is. In this case, it would be, I guess, wild cards. And then you can use that to buy to buy other cards. So it would be in terms of Magic Arena, it would be a system by where you and dusting by its nature in other digital CCGs is never 1-to-1. So it would be a system by where you would remove X number of rares from your collection and then get 1 rare wild card. Is the assumption of how that would work. And there's a couple of reasons why Wizards has said that they don't want to do this that I like, that I agree with. Like they talked about, like one thing sort of philosophically, which I think is interesting. I don't know, Cameron, you might find this interesting as well, that they don't want to center decisions around destruction. They want to center decisions around a positive of opening a pack rather than destroying part of your collection.
Yeah.
Which I found interesting.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I mean, you think it feels bad to get a card banned now in Constructed? imagine if you dusted a significant amount of your collection in order to build that deck.
Yeah. And so that's the other thing
Yeah,
that Chris talked about is the analysis paralysis. I would hate this of like looking at your collection and going, what do I get rid of?
Yes.
I know the cards I want. What do I dust? And I'm saying now, and he said the same in the thing, that for some people that's an easy decision, right? There are some people out there that's like, no, I know what I want. I know the cards I'm never going to play. Easy, right? For me, I would be paralyzed with indecision, being like, what am I going to get rid of? What if I want it again later? Oh no, I would hate that. So I think that's a reasonable thing that they don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how to measure it, but go ahead, sir.
Like, the entire thing is that this is all based around, like, not being able to afford to play the game that your friends are playing and that you want to play sucks.
Yeah.
Right? That's a bad feel. And there is no but to that statement. I want everyone to be able to play and enjoy Magic. I want it to be cheap and accessible. Right? I think the problem is like when it starts to enter into a space where it's competing with paper Magic, which is something that we've been able to dodge for the last couple of years, right? Because a lot of paper Magic just isn't happening right now. Because you don't want to starve the ecosystem of the LGS by making drafting or playing like constructed cheaper than it is to go into paper.
Right.
Right. And at some point there's probably going to be a calculation that has to enter into it about like the wanting to play in paper should cost roughly the same amount as playing in Arena.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it can't be too much more expensive, or Arena will pull those constructed players out of the LGS, right?
Yeah.
That's the fear.
Yeah, that would be the fear.
I think
that would be my concern is
Yeah.
if I was producing MTG Arena, that like not only for the Arena people, but like for the people at WotC, right, who are game designers, and like this has to be hard, is what I'm saying. This has to be a difficult problem and not an enviable one, and one that probably has some certain kind of legal ramifications too. Because if you're looking at the cost of playing constructed in paper, you are inherently examining the secondary market, right? Like, if you wanted to play Cobblade way back in the day and Arena existed, right? Then how do you balance the cost of like getting the wild cards for that deck against the cost of playing it in paper? Right, because that deck was expensive.
Quite expensive, yeah.
Right, the Jaces alone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is not a fully formed rational argument, but it there has to be like many angles on which the people designing this ecosystem are examining it.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't think saying just add dusting is a helpful argument for exactly that reason.
Right.
Right.
Yes, sorry, I completely got away.
No,
from the
you're
dusting
fine.
argument.
No. That's fine, because these are the thoughts that we're having now. This is surely the thoughts that the Arena team themselves are having, and it's easy to say, well, just add a dusting system, and they've explained why they don't want to, and also we've talked before about how they have dusting kinda now. It just doesn't pay out as generously as we would want, which is when you get your fifth copy of a card, it evaporates and turns into progress for the vault, which eventually you get wild cards out of, which, is I actually think is an okay system that I wish was more generous. But yeah, this is why this is all such a challenge.
Yeah. And again, I'm a limited player. I don't really do standard or pioneer or no, not pioneer on Arena. Historic. Or alchemy historic.
That's okay.
Right?
No one
Like,
plays alchemy.
Yeah. The problem is
I
that
believe that's not the case.
Oh, okay.
a lot of the alchemy cards actually look good to me, right? Like the samurai that we had last week that had its own its spell book. I thought that was a cool idea and I liked it.
Alchemy players coming at me in the comments right now. I know you're there.
There are dozens of us.
There was an interesting thing that I saw from someone on Twitter, I think this morning, that was like, wasn't the point of alchemy to fix to do to have a fixed standard. I thought that was the whole thing about it was a standard that we can mess with and tune really quickly. And that was not what Wizards ever said, right? The point of Alchemy was to create a fast-paced, quickly adjustable digital-only format for constructed players on Arena for whom standard moves too slowly. Whether or not you agree with that is up to you. I'm saying that's what Wizards has said their reasoning for it was. And also to make money, because everything that they do is to make money. Yes, we're taking that as read. And so that's sort of why Alchemy exists, which is also why we'll talk a little bit more about this again later. Why some, maybe not all, but some amount of the Commander Legends Baldur's Gate cards are coming to Arena to be legal in Alchemy.
Do you know if they're going to be legal in Historic too?
Well, yeah, because that's the same. Is that not the same format essentially? But Alchemy rotates and
Great question.
Historic does not.
I mean, so yeah, I sort of brought that up before, but yeah, Alchemy does rotate, so there'll be new standard cards and new Alchemy cards in it. But they could tell us that there are cards that are going into Alchemy that aren't going into Historic.
That's
right?
true.
Historic includes all of the cards that are in Alchemy right now, but maybe
it'd be really confusing if it didn't. But some other good news, I think this is good news anyway, is that they have indeed heard the feedback. You'd be forgiven for imagining that they had not, but they have indeed heard the feedback that some people don't like that there is this Alchemy that now has affected Historic, and so now there is no eternal Arena format that has a mirror in paper. And we've said as much, as many people have. This is not a new thought about what about Pioneer, and they've said it's funny. You have to actually really drill down in the print version of the article to find the reason of why not Pioneer, because in the stream, I don't actually think Chris did a very good job of answering why not Pioneer. And this article also doesn't do a great job of answering, but why not Pioneer? But there is a sentence in here. There's still 5 years worth of sets on the back half of Pioneer that are not on Arena. And so they're like, okay, that's too much. We can't just do that. So they're creating a new format. They don't have a name for it yet, and they don't have exactly all the definitions, but the point of it is to be an eternal format for Arena that uses, all the cards that are available on Arena, and I'm using air quotes if you're not watching the video version, because of course there will be a ban list, I assume. That will be one-to-one with paper. So it will not include rebalance cards. It will not include digital-only cards. So that format will exist. So that's good news, right? It's not Pioneer, but that is good news.
Yeah.
That sounds like good news.
Yeah, no, I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure it's all good news, but sure, I mean, I said earlier that more things without taking anything away is good, so I guess I'll stick to that.
What are your thoughts here, though?
The player base is zero sum, right? At some
yeah,
point, right?
there's problems.
If you are invested in Historic, I assume you're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, you don't want the Historic ranked ladder to take a minute to fire.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I said a minute, it's not that long, but still, you don't really want the Historic ranked ladder to take a full minute to find a match. And this can happen. I know there's a lot of players, and we're all in the same Arena server or whatever, right? But, yeah, there's still only so many formats, and sometimes, you'll get a quick draft queue or whatever that takes, a really long time to get the draft started if it's, not the most popular format, and it's not, the first day that the quick draft queue came out or whatever. Mm-hmm. We've all been there. There's moments. Magic Online has shown them off more. Magic Online, if you've played for a long time, you'll know they'll have tons of options. They always have tons of different queues, but some of them don't happen. Even the premier ones on the weekend where it's this only happens once a month or once a week or something, and it'll be 32 players needed to fire, and it gets to 15 or something. So this happens. I can't think of the most recent one that I've watched do this, but I see tweets about it. People being sad that no one will play Legacy or no one will play Pioneer.
Right.
Actual Pioneer, right? Sometimes has struggle firing.
I mean, Pioneer definitely does feel like it's been sort of left at the wayside.
It got hit by the pandemic pretty hard.
Yeah. I mean,
I have a paper deck, and we were playing it at YJ on paper.
I mean, it was definitely because of the pandemic. But it's obviously tabletop is not yet back to where it once was, and it's not on Arena. So are there Pioneer queues on McGo?
Yeah, for sure. But the weekend Sunday challenges don't always fire.
There you go.
I do want to sneak in, and just offer my personal experience, because I also played Hearthstone, a bunch of limited and then a bunch of constructed, and I have spent probably at least 1 hour of my life, if not multiple hours, wringing my hands about which legendaries to dust so that I can build the deck that I know I want to play. There'll be like a deck I've seen, I know I want to play it, I get the list, and then I'm short some number of rares and don't have enough dust, and it's like, okay, someone's got to go. I got to break 4 cards here, and specifically the like base set 7-mana 7/7 priest legendary, I had like opened like a regular copy and a foil, dusted them all because I didn't play priest at all the first year, and then like 3 years later I was like, oh, I need this card. I don't have it. I don't really want to dust it. I'm going to feel, or I don't want to craft it because I'm going to feel so bad about that. Having gone like, break this card again. Okay, now when I craft this card, it's worth like 16 other cards or something, like if you do the math, right? Because I've like destroyed it and then I'm rebuilding it. And so there's this weird feel bad. And so I have been that player who's like, what am I not going to play? I don't know. I like Jank. Oh, I don't know. I like all these cards. They're good. What do I break? And sometimes you can get away with like just breaking some uncommons or whatever.
Yeah, and for some people that won't be a concern, but I mean, for me at least, I would hate that.
So I want to say I sympathize with Arena saying like, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, that's actually good for me and my silly mental health. But yeah, Pioneer sometimes doesn't fire on MTGO. If you put like, there's some number I'm sure we could throw out, like say there were 50 constructed formats, right? Currently there's 3, right? There's standard, alchemy, and historic.
Oh, on Arena. Okay.
On Arena.
And
right.
Brawl.
Oh, right. Okay, Brawl. That's a constructed format. Absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry. So there's 4. And
I don't actually know if Historic Brawl is considered its own. Do they have their own queues?
Let's say there's Historic Brawl. We play a lot of Brawl here on Tap Tap PC, obviously, as you can tell. No, we don't. We just draft.
We haven't played as much Brawl since Friday Night Paper Fight started doing IRL stuff again.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, so say there's 5 queues, and then there's the non-ranked versions as well, so 10 queues or whatever. But then you add even just 5 more formats and ranked and non-ranked. Pretty soon you're going to start to see the crunch of like people hoping for their favorite format to fire and having to share a smaller number of players between them. So there is an end. There's a limit at which we start seeing the negative effects of having too many formats. I don't think we're there yet, and I think honestly half of Pioneer or whatever sounds fun. That sounds okay. I don't know if I have the brain space or if I'm eager to be like thinking about historic and thinking about Pionish or Pioneer spelled Near or whatever you want to go with. Yeah.
Pioneer.
Didn't think of either of these ones. I think Manelite came up with Pioneer.
That's good. Good job, Manelite.
And someone else said Pionish. I don't remember who. But yeah, it's like that's the only problem I have where I'm just like, okay, if it's old cards on historic or on Arena, I want to think about historic. But that's just me quibbling.
All right. I want to talk now about the Loxodon in the room. And apologies in advance because I know that at least one person who works on Arena listens to the show. But the wild card bundle. So this was a thing that they were like, okay, people just want to get their hands on wild cards. It's like, just please, Wizards, let us just buy wild cards so I can put the money in and get my deck finished. And Wizards went, okay, here is a bundle that you can buy in the store. They call it an RMT. It's a real money transaction. So it's only for real money. You can't buy it for gold or gems. And you get 12 rare wild cards and 4 mythic wild cards. That seems great until you find out that it's $50 US, which seems sorry, that's bad. That is
not good.
That's
ridiculous.
Like you're buying it for the mythic wild cards.
Yeah.
Right? By and large. Right?
Yeah, I think so. That
if you are
But this is 5.
That is absolutely the rate limiting.
Yeah, this is 5 play sets. Right?
Yes.
Sure.
That might not even be enough for a deck.
No, I thought it was 12 and 4. Is it 12 and 4?
Yeah. So, sorry.
4 play
play sets.
3 rare play sets and 1 mythic play set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like standard decks, they run pretty rich on that.
The land will get you.
Yeah, the land will get you. The planeswalkers will get you. Earlier, going back and saying like, I need four wanderer, and then if you're playing Super Friends, oh, this feels bad.
Yeah,
this feels bad, right? Like,
and several people have sort of done, not necessarily scientific. Structurally, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rigorous?
Yeah, not done a rigorous scientific experimentation, but have done the thing where it's like, okay, what if I just take $50 worth of gems? We'll give Arena the best bet here and say that I bought my gems with the 100 gem bundle, which, as we already established, is the best value. I'll take $50 worth of those gems and just buy boosters. And what do I open up? And it's like, it's better. Like you don't get quite as many or guaranteed to be the same rarity wildcards, but you also just get a bunch of rares and a bunch of vault progress, and it's like it's actually just better value to buy $50 worth of boosters.
Yeah, I think Amazonian and maybe Vince did the math that I was looking at, but although Frank Karsten also weighed in on one of the threads early on and with like doing the more rigorous scientific math, but it seemed
I would
to be
definitely trust Frank Karsten on
you get
this.
like kind of minimum 8 for your $50. You get minimum 8 rare wild cards, probably about 11, and then 3 mythic wild cards. So it's like it's close, right? It's like 12 and 4. It's like 11 and 3, but then a chance to do. Obviously, you have a chance of just opening the card you need, like 40 chances, right? And then plus all of the vault progress of the commons and uncommons.
All right, he says in his tweet from March 17th, if you spend $50 on Arena on 46 packs, then, based on a rough approximation, including the wildcard wheel, wildcards in packs, and vault progress, you'll usually gain 3 mythics and 9 rare... 3 mythic wildcards
3 and
9 rare wildcards, plus the cards you open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you might still be further away than with the Mythic Wildcard Bundle if you're in the exact position of, this is a brand new account and I need to build this particular deck to play in a tournament or to play on the ladder or whatever. Yeah. So there is a slight chance that there will be people for whom it is correct to buy this bundle. And so you got to know that if that's the case, and it's a sliver, it's a small chance, kind of like the Mythic Pack. It's like a small bonus option. You got to know that WotC internally did the same math.
Oh, obviously.
Right? It's clearly so close.
But if it was cheaper, I feel like it's like I saw a comment, this is anecdotal. I saw a comment in the subreddit, that was like $30 would make a lot more sense. $20 and I'd buy 3, right? And it's like you would sell more.
Yeah.
If they were cheaper. That's basic economics, not going to be a surprise to anybody at Wizards. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job in that instance. But, it's if it was cheaper, I think more people would be like, oh, actually, yeah, sure, I'll just do that. Whereas $50 is like, oh, no.
I don't know why they gate kept it with real money, too. Why are they doing that when, like, they're not gatekeeping the bundles of packs or the like, cosmetics? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just another product. Like, specifically, too, it seems harsh that they're, like, coming out with, like, oh, we're going to try and fix it for the Constructor players. And it's like, you made draft cost, like, a third or a quarter of what it costs in paper to draft, right? Like, fundamentally, it's just the entry price we care about. Drafters are mostly looking for the experience, and then they just want to get into the next draft for cheaper or free, right? With whatever they win. So it's like, if you just look at the entry price, and a typical draft in Canada is like $20, and then it's like $5 US kind of on average to get into a draft on Arena, which is like $7 or $8. So it's like, why can't, especially if they're having to get out their credit cards for this purchase, why not give the Constructor players like a bit of a rate? Because if you look at that $50 gem bundle, again, with can't remember who I followed, maybe like Chitterstorm or Chatterstorm or something, and someone had done a pretty good tweet thread of like, here's the top 8 decks in Constructed right now in Standard, and they cost this much on paper to buy all the singles, and then if you only use them in wildcard bundles, so just increments of 50, this is how much they would cost. And for a bunch of them, it was like the same. And that's neat. And for some of them, it was cheaper on paper, and for some of them, it was cheaper on Arena. But it was like on average about the same, but like, why can't Arena be a little cheaper, right? Like a little bit at least.
There's no printing or shipping costs. There's other costs.
Yeah.
Obviously, servers, the dev time. There's obviously other costs, but it's like They should be untethered.
But maybe this comes back to the thing you were saying about the LGS, where it's like, no, if it's too much cheaper, then people won't play F&M in paper. And yeah, I don't want that, honestly. I mean, if I had to pick, I would still just say, like, let's play Paper Magic.
I mean, and at this point, like, even saying that, I feel like I'm just making excuses. That, like, this is not going to make me want to play Constructed anymore, right?
Sure.
Like, I don't. This might just be particular to me, but like, I look at a lot of like the standard, the small card pool Constructed, and just always feel like it's just kind of a stack of vaguely unrelated rares or vaguely related rares that like doesn't really inspire me as a player or deck builder.
Right.
And the things that do kind of interest me are going to get stomped. Right?
Okay.
Like the
Problems unrelated to the economy, though, right? Yeah.
but not entirely decoupled from it.
Right.
Because I forget who said it, but I saw someone on Twitter say that, like, you know, when a card gets banned, it's not just that card that loses its value in your collection.
a bunch of us have said that.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, right? That it's like that entire deck is probably dead.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like usually got like 12 other card slots that go with it, and you can't do much with, and also tank.
Right.
Right.
And that's really hard to want to invest yourself into, especially with how aggressive the team has been about, like, banning cards that are a problem, but also creating cards that are a problem.
Fire philosophy.
Yeah. I like playing with powerful cards. I really do. I don't know what the solution here is, other than, you know, like, get it perfect every time, which I'm not sure is feasible.
Some other stuff that I wanted to mention, some things that they said that I found interesting, and then one other thing that I thought was actually quite good, is that we talked about the completionists who want to get their whole collection, and they've said that this is in the article. In practice, we know this is a relatively small segment, but something we still want to support. So it's like they have these numbers, right? And so they know that, like, even though it may feel like you and everybody you know, in terms of arena players, there's actually not that many people relatively who are like, I want to get 4 of every card in the set. They do talk also about, you know, the issue for deck brewers who want to have lots of different cards so that they can just be like, okay, what am I going to build today? Let me pull these cards in or whatever. And something that they're looking towards doing, they don't have a firm date for this or anything, but something that they are looking to do that Chris said he would want to have, even like from the deck building scene, is like you build a deck, you don't necessarily own all those cards, and you take it for a test drive. Like either against Sparky or even in the free play queue, where you just like jump in with cards you don't own on Arena and see how it plays.
I would love that.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
And can then decide, let's decide whether or not to craft those. And so that's something that they've said that they don't have a firm date for or anything, but that's something that they are looking into and working towards. Another thing, which I should have mentioned back at sort of the dusting thing, is that there's a related issue when, and he mentioned Duress specifically, right, where it's like it's been reprinted several times. So like on Arena, I have like 16 copies of Duress because I have it from, 4 from Ixalan, 4 from that core set, 4 from, as it gets reprinted, Arena is like, yes, these are all different cards, right? I know that people like to rip on the Arena team for I don't know if this phrase was ever actually spoken by somebody at Wizards, but the technology just isn't there or whatever, right? I know that people like to make fun of them for that. What that means is that like they didn't plan for that, and so there's the code doesn't support it in its current state. But good news, because Chris announced that coming soon is the ability to select a default land.
Oh my gosh, is that finally happening?
Finally, thankfully.
I just caved and paid for the Ukiyo lands.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the change, whatever change in the programming that necessitated that happening, will also be able to let them do something, he said, he was very nonspecific, to solve the issue of having 16 copies of Duress across multiple different sets. So,
yeah.
So that would be good. I'm looking forward to that.
It's obviously not the dresses anyone cares about, but the Temple of Triumphs and the fabled passages, right? It's like when it's 4 extra rare slots that are filling in.
That's a good point.
As you're drafting or crafting, so that when you draft you get gems or whatever. It's just like,
especially when they're the same art. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not the same art, like I don't know if they can allow you to say like they're going to fix it by saying you're only going to have 4 of them, and then you can pick your art. Maybe that's fine. Maybe you're allowed to play with the new one or the old one once you've collected 4 of any card. Like that's actually a bit of flexibility you don't have in the real world, but maybe just let us have that so that you can pull it off. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I don't really need a 16th Dragon Skull Summit.
Yeah.
Right.
Or,
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if you let us toggle it, where it's like, okay, you've collected 4 Temple of Triumphs from M21. It's coming back in New Capenna. There's going to be Temple of Triumphs. And then maybe you could just be like, no, those are gems for me, or those are Vault Progress or something. Yeah. But say it has new art that you really like. You're like, yes, actually, I'm going to draft these 4 new Temple of Triumphs because I just want to play them instead. That would be neat. But I'm really glad to hear for limited players out there, especially that's a big win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, I guess this stream was as we had predicted, which is that, it's not like it was going to upend everything. It was much more like, here is us explaining why we are the way that we are and why we will continue to be that way. But here are some changes. And again, from watching the actual thing, like a lot of the small things that were said, I thought were actually really, really interesting and positive. And, the primary thing that I think was very bad was the cost of that wildcard bundle.
Right.
I think that's preposterous.
They could have come out with $35 and like it still doesn't look like a crazy good deal versus $50 worth of packs, right?
I think $35 people would have been like, but $50 just unanimously across Twitter was just like, wow, F that. Yeah. And, and I don't think that's necessarily an unreasonable reaction.
No. I guess even at $25, it would have been like, okay, you don't get those 40 other rares, but you do get the wild cards that you care about. And it might have been not as bad a reaction and still makes them plenty of money.
Yeah.
I think.
Like, I mean, did anyone run the numbers on how many of these do you need to buy to play the new hotness in Standard?
Right. So it's probably on average like 3 of them.
3 or 4?
Yeah, it's on average, I think 3. Yeah.
Right. And like buying that deck in paper would be probably like on that order.
Yeah, $150. Yeah.
You would have them in paper.
Then you could sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or more than you could just play them.
Yeah.
Right? I do like that they want to. I don't know if they necessarily come out and say this, but Paper Magic is not dead, and Paper Magic is like WotC's first baby, right? And they've constantly told us that it's not going away, no matter how popular Arena or maybe Magic Online are. But like, hopefully, Arenas stays in a place or gets to a place or whatever that like serves Paper. You can go on Play Constructed, and it makes you want to go play Paper Constructed more. And I feel like it's in that place for me now where I'm like, oh, I like this deck, and I wouldn't have just paid for it on paper because I don't get to draft as much on paper or whatever as I can on Arena. And so I don't just have the cards lying around. And there's no ladder on paper either, right? Every time you play, you're at a tournament or you're like jamming in your kitchen. So for me, it succeeded in that, where I'm like, I would consider going and playing like a Grand Prix main event with Black-White Control because I played it on Arena. I feel comfortable with it. I like the way it stacks up against the other decks in the format. I feel like I could do okay with it. Without Arena, I wouldn't have gotten that experience, and I would just feel like completely unconnected to Standard right now. So it's done that for me with the current price structure, but I'm kind of a outlier in that I'm like I'm a limited player who will play Constructed sometimes if it seems worthwhile, or who sometimes plays Constructed once they've burned out of limited, like once they've gone broke, plays Constructed.
I play one Constructed match a season so that I get rewards at the end of the season.
Right, you have to get your placement, and then you get a pack.
Yeah, you have to play one match of Constructed to even be placed in bronze.
Right. Otherwise,
and then you get
unplaced. Yeah.
Then you get a pack and some gems or gold, I think.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the Arena thing before we move on to some new cards?
No, I mean, we did call it. It wasn't as hilarious it was more hilarious than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be kind of nothing, and then it ended up being like, they think we have a big announcement, and actually it's just like, no, we're just offering some smoke and mirrors, basically. So, yeah, I don't know. My heart goes out to people who are trying to play Constructed on Arena from the get-go, because that's certainly not what it was built for, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okie dokie. As we mentioned, coming to Arena Alchemy, as well as paper, though, I mean, you probably want to play it on paper so you actually get to, play Commander. There's a new Commander Legends. We only got to draft Commander Legends once for the PPR, and it slapped.
I liked that set so much, I bothered to do a webcam Discord Rochester draft with my friends.
Right, that was a pain in your butt, wasn't
So
it?
much pain. But I was just so in love with that draft format. Oh my god. Yeah.
So they're doing another Commander Legends, and this is Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. So it's based in it's sort of like a sequel to Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. So that's cool. So it's another D&D focused thing. Which, frankly, I'm all for. And they revealed some of the cards on the stream yesterday. So we've got Ancient Brass Dragon, 5 black for a 7/6 Elder Dragon, because it's ancient, you see, with flying. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. When you do, put any number of target creature cards with total mana value X or less from graveyards onto the battlefield under your control, where X is the result.
Whew.
Yeah, that's spicy.
That's a powerful on-hit trigger.
Uh-huh. It's never going to connect. They're just going to kill that immediately.
Doesn't have hexproof for anything.
No.
Yeah.
Being black doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, now the Doomblade is way. Doomblade, just
So
a
many
powerfully
iterations
weak
ago.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far along, so far back that you relied on something being black to dodge terror. Yeah, can I just say release cadence real quick? So I wanted to say before we started looking at cards, but after the first card, I'm just like, we were talking about New Capenna spoilers last week, and now we're talking about Commander Legends spoilers, and I'm just upside down. Yeah, release cadence for me, for old men.
The Stranger Things Secret Lair was before.
Oh, Stranger Things Secret Lair.
Well, no, because you were talking about upside down.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Hey, maybe Stranger Things Secret Lair cards are going to be in this set with their regular printing. We still don't know about that, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
There's all these little Easter eggs of just oh, by the way, this is where this card came from.
Didn't they already spoil those?
Oh, maybe.
I think they did. I think
For what
some
set?
of them are showing up in New Capenna, aren't
Great.
they? Or
Yeah.
New Capenna Commander
Yes.
decks?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Cool.
it's going to be the best friends are going to be in the New Capenna Commander.
Sweet.
Right. Yeah, cool.
Right.
So, okay.
Spoilers I didn't even know happened.
Yeah.
Flavor, I wish to register a flavor complaint. So Ancient Brass Dragon over here is an Elder Dragon, presumably because Ancient Brass Dragon. Next card, Elder Brain is just a horror.
Not an elder horror.
What the heck?
What the heck?
Come on. Anyway,
Give us elder non-dragon cards.
it is also
Cowards.
It is also 5 black. So it's
Yeah.
exactly the same mana
Oh,
cost.
is this a theme set where everything costs 5 black?
That would be really funny.
would draft the
I
hell
don't
out of
think
that.
so. It's a 6/6 horror with menace.
Imagine missing your 6th land drop.
Whenever it attacks a player, so this is an attacks trigger, but not if you attack planeswalkers, exile all cards from that player's hand, then they draw that many cards. You may play lands and cast spells from among the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Holy moly.
Directly into Gonti only for flavor reasons.
Nice.
Mills back, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes them draw. Put 7 cards in their hand, make them draw 7 new cards.
Yeah.
Cast their spells. Love it.
Yeah, no, you just want to hammer one of those blue players who's playing Reliquary Tower.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's you
like-
were in the green game. You hit
Yeah.
Wheeler with this, and he has to draw 40 cards.
You play to the left of somebody who's on Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah.
They're like, cards in hand? 42.
Love it.
Well, I have some good news for you because you're still going to have 42 after this.
Trigger on the stack.
Oh, no, you won't.
Flash upheaval.
What I like about this being a commander set is that it means that there's cards that are they're iconic Magic cards that are also iconic D&D spells that they couldn't justifiably print in Standard. So we've got Fireball, good old Fireball,
Okay.
and Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Why not?
Yeah, good to see those.
Although Lightning Bolt should be a 5th level spell compared to Fireball, which is 3rd level invoke.
Thank you. We've got the Wand of Wonder.
Exciting.
Yeah, I've experienced. I've had experiences in Dungeons and Dragons with the Wand of Wonder and the Wand of a Wonder, which is a different thing. Well, maybe Jeremy Petter can explain that one someday.
I've had Deck of Many Things games, but not Wand of Wonder.
Yeah.
I still have not had a GM who has ever let me have an apparatus of Qualish.
Oh. So the Wand of Wonder is 3 and a red for an artifact, and for 4 and tap, you roll a d20. Each opponent exiles from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card, then shuffles the rest into their library. You may cast up to X instant and or sorcery spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. And then the X is determined by how you rolled that d20. So 1 through 9, you get 1, 10 through 19, you get 2, and the old natural 20, you get 3 spells from that exile.
That's just good, clean magic right there.
That's just fun. We get more Minsk. We get Minsk and Boo combination on a planeswalker. Minsk and Boo, Timeless Heroes, 2 red green for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. When Minsk and Boo, Timeless Hero, enter the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. So if Boo dies, you get to make a new Boo on your upkeep. But they're legendary, so you only get 1 Boo. +1, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature with trample or haste. So you get to make Boo really big. -2, sacrifice a creature. When you do, Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes deals X damage to any target, where X is that creature's power. If the sacrificed creature was a hamster, draw X cards. Also, Minsk and Boo can be your commander.
Yeah, this seems pretty good.
Yeah, this seems like a beating and a half.
Yeah, like I would consider playing this in Canadian Highlander, I think. You've got like sort of questing beast stats, right? It's fundamentally a 4-mana 4/4 trample haste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That like then if you if it does
also fling.
Yeah, and then more things obviously if you untap with the planeswalker. But yeah, Llanowar Elves Mox into this seems fine.
Yeah, you play.
It's a dragon, right?
Play it. You make Boo. You put 3 +1/+1 counters on Boo. You smack somebody. On your next turn, you
get a new Boo.
You sack. Well, no,
you don't have to.
It doesn't quite work.
If
You
it's
have
still
to-
there, you just make a 7/7 Boo, right?
That's true.
That's the plus.
Yeah, I guess.
Keep putting counters on to
My
make
thought was the
Boo
next
3
turn you
bigger.
sacrifice Boo,
Yeah, you can if you
and then
want.
you deal 4 damage to something and draw 4 cards. Then on your next turn, you just get to make a new Boo.
Yeah.
We're gonna need another Boo.
And you can keep
Wow.
doing that a bit,
Yeah.
I guess. You can go through the whole cycle twice if you're not interrupted before you have to put counters on twice in a row.
That's pretty sweet.
But I mean, if you don't need more, like you've already got this, how many more cards do you need? Make a 7/7 Boo.
And then also they're reprinting we mentioned this at the top of the show, they're reprinting the dual lands from Battle Bond. So Bountiful Promenade.
Finally.
Yeah. Luxury Suite. Woo!
Yes.
Morphic Pool, Sea of Clouds, and Spire Garden.
Although you have to imagine that the luxury suite in the Forgotten Realms is just like the inn, but the straw is fresh.
Yeah.
Right, like we're all adventurers here. Right?
They're
Nobody's
also
spending money on the inn. Dear God, sleep in the barn.
And they're also reprinting Reflecting Pool. That's the other one.
Oh,
that
nice.
That they revealed.
It's been a while since we've gone to Reflecting Pool.
Yeah, they also showed off some Borderless and some old D&D style variants of some of the cards. The Ancient Black Dragon.
Oh my God.
Or Ancient Brass Dragon, pardon me, is particularly Monster Manual. Oh, the Borderless one's very spicy, but the old school style. Look at that
Ooh,
face.
Yeah.
Hey.
Sign me up for that showcase rulebook Lightning Bolt, though. Ooh.
Oh yeah, very very cool
Beautiful.
stuff.
So what product description is in the set? Have they leaked all that already? Probably they did months ago. But can we go back for the old people in the back? Like, are there going to be sets of decks or just the booster packs? It's like comes
Great
in a
question.
booster box, like Commander Legends, right? Sorry,
Yeah, I
we
believe
weren't
that.
prepared for this, and it wasn't in the article you were reading.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's fine.
It's so it's a normal. It's like Commander Legends from a few years ago.
Right.
There is also 4 standalone Commander decks.
Right, but they didn't have
Oh.
those in the first Commander Legends, right? Because I
No.
thought I
No.
saw 2 different symbols, or I thought I saw from the decks or something.
Yeah.
like
No.
some
There's
sort of
there's
drop.
4 separate Commander
Okay.
decks that stand on their own.
Weird.
So like
presumably there'll be crossover.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if they
And,
said
like,
as much though.
Wow.
the Realms offers us so many characters to really explore with those commander decks. So I'm assuming we're going to get a new Drizzt for one of them, and then probably also another different Drizzt. And
Maybe a
then
4th Dritz?
Yeah, maybe a fourth.
Dritz Tribal is going to be out already as one of the
Hopefully,
Commander
hopefully a
Legends
fourth
decks.
Drizzt deck will be in there, and then maybe
Couple more Loths.
Yeah,
Gotta
if I'm good.
have my Lolth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's I think everything that we wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to draft that set.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And also, I just want to whine one more thing
Please.
about Arena taking some of these. Some of these cards are going to be legal in Alchemy. We don't know how many of them yet.
Yeah.
And probably, because they haven't told us this, otherwise, you just are going to have to buy them like with wild cards, or they'll put them in a bundle of singles.
I think, I don't know. I think that the idea is that there's going to be just like a Commander Legends alchemy in the same way that there's a Kamigawa alchemy.
Okay, some of there'll be packs where you can spend your gems and gold on packs.
Oh, but
or
those
bundles
are-
of
but-
packs of random.
But that doesn't work because that wouldn't be connected to a full set on Arena, so that has to be different.
Where I'm driving at with this is just, if they're letting some of these cards go into Arena Constructed, why aren't they letting any of these cards go into Arena Limited?
Oh, I see. Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate
Okay.
is the first set of its kind. It is alongside the Commander Legends set. MTG Arena will be receiving a companion set for its exclusive formats. Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate will have some of the cards from Commander Legends, including some that have been modified to balance them for 1v1 play. Alchemy Horizons will also bring all new digital cards, adding up to hundreds total.
Okay, so maybe
So,
it'll just be its own
Alchemy Horizons will be
set.
draftable on Arena.
Ooh, okay. So they are bringing Commander Legends draft, sort of.
Kinda, but you don't get to. It's 1v1 and you're not playing Commander, but they're making it into a draftable.
Okay.
Interesting.
I will withhold judgment then. That's like a better answer than I was expecting, because I thought they were just going to say you can't play multiplayer, so you can't draft Commander Legends. But they're not saying that.
Huh.
Exactly.
Dope. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be sweet. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be terrible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't discount the possibility that it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Got to
We'll
keep that one.
find out
Got
together.
to keep that one at the forefront of my mind for
Yeah.
what if it's bad.
By the way,
Thanks, Brain.
speaking of constructed limited players, if you aren't a limited player, but you haven't played Commander Legends Draft yet because reasons, please try Commander Legends Draft. It's a bit different.
Where would I buy some?
How about cardkingdom.com/LRR?
What a great idea. Thanks, Card Kingdom, for sponsoring the show. Seriously, though, they're great. Oh, I didn't even mention the button at the top of the show. I think we're still on Math is for Blockers, but if you ask them nicely, you say, loading ready run sent me button, please. They'll give you a little button, which says a funny thing. And right now it says Math is for Blockers, which continues to be correct. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That is it for Tap Tap for this week. I've been Graham, joined by Cameron and Nelson.
Also here.
James is running tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.